it has been a very, very long time, I feel like, since I have been on this side of the camera. But that's okay, huh? Huh. We've been busy doing your updates. So in my last update for Corin, I mentioned that I wanted to do a video on sleep, how sleep has gone for us in the last 9 months almost of his life, and sleep training and what we've done and how it's going thus far. So here is that video. So with Corin, we actually started out co-sleeping. He was with us. Hey. Hey. He was with us in our bed, and I enjoyed that. It made me feel more secure. About 5 months we actually started putting him in his co-sleeper, and just about less than a week after he was full-time in his co-sleeper, he got croup really, really bad, and I can't remember which update it was in, but I talked about him. He was hospitalized for croup. What's wrong? And so he came back in bed with us. It was a very long recovery, and he was really fussy after that, and so he ended up back in bed with us, and after that it was just really, really hard to get him back in his the co-sleeper, the bassinet. So as much as I loved co-sleeping, there were times he got to the point where he just was not sleeping well with us or in his co-sleeper. He'd just wake up constantly. He was probably eating at least 3 times a night, plus waking up and fussing, and it just was not fun. I was exhausted all the time and just really discouraged, and just the thought of sleep training was really overwhelming because I was so exhausted as it was, and I didn't feel like I could handle that. Yeah, could you handle it? You like my hair, don't you? And there would be good days, like sometimes he would sleep for, a 6-hour stint, which was amazing. But that happened really infrequently, but most of the time I was just really discouraged and frustrated. And during this time also, for naps during the day, he was only sleeping. Occasionally he would get a good 1.5 hour nap, but most of his naps were 30 to 45 minutes long, and so I seriously felt like I was gonna go insane. I just didn't know what to do. I was frustrated because his naps were so short, and I knew that sleep begets sleep, and I didn't really know what to do to get him to sleep better during the day so that hopefully he would sleep better during the night. And yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Was Mommy going crazy? Was Mommy going crazy? And as much as I love my little man, it is, I'm sure as every mother can attest, it's important to get some me time, and I just didn't feel like I was getting that because his naps were so incredibly short. I could, barely keep up with laundry and limited household chores, let alone get in some me time and relax a bit. So that was getting old fast. So after, I was probably like late October, early November, that we started thinking about sleep training, but we're in a pretty small house, and we had family coming to visit, and so we kind of had to put them up in his room, so we didn't want him to be in the crib and trying to sleep train while we had family here. And 2, we were going home for Christmas for a week, and so we didn't want to sleep train like right before that because we knew that we would just be taking some steps backward, and then it would probably just make it more difficult. So our goal was just to start sleep training when we got home for Christmas, and so that's what we did. So we went home for Christmas, and he ended up getting croup again, unfortunately. It didn't get as bad. We kind of nipped it in the bud, but he was still sick when we got home, which actually kind of worked out to our advantage because he sleeps a lot sometimes better when he's sick, just because he's so worn out. So we got home and started sleep training right away. So I found this method called the Sleep Lady Shuffle. I think it's by Kim West. And I found a sleep coach who actually taught this method and took a webinar class from her. So for the first 3 nights, you are actually sitting right next to your child's crib, and basically you're just there to let them know that sleep is not a scary place. It's okay to be in their crib. For Corin, it was kind of a newer experience for the crib. We kind of started naps in there, but naps were not going well anyways. So for the first 3 nights, you're right by the crib, and it's okay to provide intermittent, comfort, or if they're crying, you can just shush them. But the point is not to like pat them or shush them constantly, so that they get used to that and use that as a sleep crutch. I know for Corin, one of the problems for him was that he didn't know how to put himself to sleep, and that was one of the reasons that when he would wake up, he would fuss a lot until I put him back to sleep, which was completely our fault. So then the next 3 nights you move to like the middle of the room, and then the next 3 nights you are like in the hallway or at the doorway. And I didn't think that this method would necessarily work very well, just because I thought that because previously when we kind of gave it a little a try for his naps, he would just stare at us and he would start crying and get frustrated that we weren't picking him up. And Corin actually did really, really well. I was expecting it to be a huge struggle just every single time we put him down, but the first night that we did it, he went down right away and no fussing, surprisingly, and he just kind of started out on the right foot. And again, I think part of it helped that he was a little bit sick because he was so exhausted. So I'm just glad that we started sleep training when we did, rather than waiting a while. And the nice thing too is that Ethan had a week off after we got home, so he was able to help. He helped a ton. I'm so thankful for my husband. So he helped a ton. He actually did there was only 2 long stints of crying and wakefulness during that time that Ethan actually went and sat in his room with him. And but other than that, basically during that first week, for naps even, Corin would pretty much go to sleep right away. I'd probably say within 15-20 minutes. And then he was getting at least 1 good nap a day, like at least hour and a half hour nap. And 1.5 hour nap. And he still had typically 1 shortish nap that was like 45 minutes or so, but I was just thankful to get him, 1, sleeping better at night. That made a huge difference, didn't it? And then 2, that he actually took 1 decent nap during the day. What are you doing? Are you making noises? And then the next week was a little bit different. He had gotten fully better, and at night he was still doing good, thankfully. But for his naps, he started just doing the 45-minute naps again, 30 to 45 minute. And so that was a little bit discouraging. But overall, he's done so much better. At this point, we're technically like a month after sleep training, and he's still doing really well at night. Now he wakes up 1 to 2 times a night to eat. He's starting to kind of be more consistently getting up only once, and then sometimes he'll kind of fuss a little bit, but he'll settle himself. He'll do that a couple times a night, and then maybe once or twice I have to go in and plug the passy in, huh? You like your passy? Do you like your passy? Yeah, he hasn't quite figured out how to get it in himself in the middle of the night, but we're working on that, huh? He is taking, usually once a day he'll get like an hour to an hour and a half nap, and then kind of a shorter nap for the other one. He's not really predictable, and sometimes he will take like he'll sit in his crib for an hour before falling asleep. And part of that is probably my fault. I need to catch the sleep window. But we're still working on it. But I am just so incredibly thankful that at least at night he is doing so much better, and both of us are getting more rest, and which makes everyone happier. So the Sleep Lady Shuffle has seriously saved my mind. I was going crazy, and now I'm actually getting rest and feeling so much better about life in general. So that has been our sleep journey thus far. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!